Hello everybody, my name is Kinsey. I am a second grade student teacher graduating in May and documenting my whole journey. So I would love it if you would join me and follow along with me, and also go ahead and check out my Instagram because I am a lot more active on there and I love talking to you guys. So without further ado, I am going to hop right into talking about preparing for the edTPA. So a little background, I am in my last semester of college and I am student teaching 5 days a week. I have an evening class on Wednesdays, and then I am also mainly focused on my edTPA right now. Mine will be due at the very beginning of April, so I have about a month left. I am in the very beginning stages, but I have learned so much about organizing my edTPA. Honestly, I went into this feeling like I would have no problem, like I was organized enough already that I didn't have to think too much about it, but that was not the case. I am as type A as you can get, but I was not fully prepared for the amount of thought and multitasking that the edTPA requires. So my edTPA binder is my bestest friend. This is a 1-inch just random binder. To be honest, I would recommend getting 1.5 at least. As you can see, mine is quite filled, and it is kind of hard to twist, but I'm not willing to go out and pay for another binder. So this is what I'm using. I just created a cute little cover, and then I also have this as a little reminder on the back because these are the 3 things that they are looking for, and this is what they're testing you on, and so I just wanted it as a reminder. So I'm gonna go in depth with you all about what is in here and why things are in here and how you can help yourself taking the edTPA to not go crazy. So the very first thing that I want to mention that I hadn't thought of before was calendars. I have a planner for school and life and all of that stuff, but I found it kind of chaotic to fit edTPA stuff into my daily calendar because there are so many little deadlines that you want to set for yourself, and that was kind of hard to keep track of with everything else. So what I ended up doing was printing off just the 3 months that I'll be taking my test: February, March, and April. And I use these solely for the edTPA. All of my little dates, all of the times I'm teaching or filming or whatever has to do with edTPA, I put on here, and that way it's all in one place. I'm not looking for it all the time, and then the little deadlines don't get lost in all of the craziness. The little deadlines are just as important as the big ones, so that has been really helpful for me. I can kind of color code it and it just works. So I would highly recommend doing that. That has really eased my mind while I've been doing all this. The other big thing that I did was color coding. Color coding is not for everybody, I know that, but it should be for everybody for this. Basically, I have 3 colors for each task, as you see on my tabs. I labeled them on there as well. And so basically, when you're printing out the edTPA handbook and all of this stuff, they all kind of break down each task by themselves. And so I really have enjoyed being able to just flip to the task I'm looking for, and I know that that is where that information is going to be. The other thing is I have a sticky note here that says record everything, keep all samples, and then the number 38. That might not make sense to you if you are not familiar with the edTPA or you are literally just starting out. Record everything means you are creating 3 lessons. Okay, you're teaching over the course of 3 days. However, you only have to submit a max of 15 minutes worth of footage. There's a lot that can go wrong. There are a lot of details you're trying to incorporate. So you need to film every single part of the lessons that you have planned for edTPA and then pick and choose what you are going to submit. Film everything and collect all the work samples because you never know whether your focus students are going to be there or not. You never know if you're going to have like not enough kids or if you have to switch focus students. There's a lot of factors, so just collect everything. It's better to have more and have more to choose from than to not have enough and not be able to get what you need. And then the number 38 is the number required for me to pass the edTPA in Maryland. So definitely go ahead and look up the requirements for your state that you are getting certified for, because that really matters. Your university has requirements and the state has requirements. So make sure you look at both and know what is being expected of you. So let's hop right into the tabs. The first tab I have is the handbook. Yes, I printed out the entire handbook and I recommend that you do the same. I know that printing is expensive and it seems kind of unnecessary, but the ability to highlight and write notes and add sticky notes and put tabs or whatever is so important. You need to just be able to like throw thoughts at paper during this. I printed out the whole handbook and like I said, I made colorful tabs for all of them so that I know which pages talk about which task. Purple is task 1 for me, blue is task 2, and green is task 3. There is no meaning to those colors. I just picked them, to be honest. It was the order that those little post-it things came in. So that's just what I did. So I just have been taking notes, and the handbook will be really handy when you are finishing things, in my opinion. As you finish tasks and assignments and stuff, go through the task requirements in the handbook and in other stuff and make sure you've hit all of the check marks. And if not, you can go back and add or remove or whatever. So I feel like having that at your disposal will be really helpful, especially before turn-in. Next tab is labeled making good choices. However, I would probably, like if you were making this for yourself, I would probably label this like other resources or something like that, because in here I do have the Making Good Choices resource, which I will talk about. I also have the Understanding the Rubric Level Progressions, and then I also have the Virtual Learning Alternative Guidance that just came out this year. So I would have labeled this something different had I realized I was going to do that, but they're all in there in the Making Good Choices. But I did the same labeling with this to label all of the tasks, and this again just gives more in depth about the rubrics and what is expected of you, how you'll be graded, all of those things. So I just printed them out and I will be able to go through them as I finish things and make sure that I am hitting all of the expectations that they want from me. The next section is just notes, and this is an important section for me because I kept all of the notes that I've taken from classes. There have been PowerPoints that I've printed out and things like that about recording and all of that I keep in here as reference so that I know what the heck I'm doing. The biggest part of this section is my notes page that I made for myself. The hardest thing, in my opinion, about the edTPA is this need for like such a big picture mindset. You have to know what you're doing on day 3 in order to even start to plan for day 1. It's very all intermingled and everything has to have a purpose and a reason and everything has to have a place to go. And that was really hard to grasp for me. So I printed out a chart with my color coding, right? Task 1, task 2, task 3 for all 3 days so that I could make sure I was hitting all of the requirements for each task on the separate days that I was filming and stuff like that. So this was really helpful, but what was the most helpful was my impromptu note page that will make 0 sense to anybody if they try and read this. Basically, I just wrote out my plans for the days in bullet points. I'm gonna do this first, this next, then this, and then this is gonna be my assessment. And I did that. I wrote the objectives and everything, and then I went through and I underlined or wrote notes or whatever in my color coding. So the purple is all the things that hits task 1, the blue is all the things that hit task 2 requirements, and then the green is the task 3 things that I am incorporating. So doing this was the most helpful thing I have done yet. It makes things so clear. I know it doesn't look clear, it looks very confusing and crazy, but it makes things so clear in my head that I'm at least hitting everything. I know what I'm doing, I know why I'm doing those things, and I know that I'm hitting all of the points that each task requires. I also down here, I covered it with a sticky note, but I also wrote down my focus students that I will be working with. Pro tip from my professors, you have to submit work and stuff for 2 focus children, but pick 4. act like you have to have 4 focus students, because if one of your focus students is gone, then you still have 3 to pick from. If 2 of them are gone, you still have 2 that are required. So just give yourself that flexibility of the unknown and make sure that you are prepared for that. Now we get into the task sections. So the last 3 sections of my binder is task 1, task 2, and task 3. I did this because I plan on printing out all of the aspects that I am creating and using for each one, so that I have hard copies in case anything gets lost or anything like that, because I just want to be extra cautious. So like I said, task 1 is purple, and I just have the overview for all of them. I will link the edTPA website down below. They have a lot of really great resources. Like I said, the handbook, the making good choices, the rubric progressions, and the virtual guidelines. And then they also have overviews of each task. And these are really helpful as just like quick check-offs. You really should go through the other stuff as well, but it's really good to like generalize the task and you can see what's expected of you. So I have those printed out with lots of notes taken on them. I also printed out the curriculum for science and ELA for my class, so that I could choose and try and kind of match my lessons with what they're actually learning, and using that and those standards and stuff that are expected of the kids for my lesson. And then my school requires us to do a student profile summary, so I'm not going to show you that because it has their names, but it basically just, you list your students, their age, ethnicity, strengths and needs, and then their likes and dislikes, and then any other notes that you've taken on them so far. And this can be really, really helpful for you when you are writing your context for learning as part of task 1. So I have this in there as well. Next, we have task 2, which is blue for me. And again, I just have the overview with some notes and checkboxes and things like that to keep me organized. And then the other big thing that I have in here is I just kept a running list of all of the students that are that have given permission for video recording. With the virtual learning environment today, it was very complicated, and so I wanted to make sure I knew for sure all of the kids that I could film and the kids I could not. So I have a sheet for that in here. And then I also am starting to print out and get together the resources that I will be using in my lesson. So I just have a printout of the little book that we'll be reading in my lesson, and that way I can make notes. I printed it out like this so that I can make notes in the bottom. Being virtual kind of is a plus, where like I can have this with my notes in front of me, so I can hit every point that I need to while I'm teaching. So that'll be good. And the last section is my green task 3. This is the assessment section. And again, all I have back here is just this overview for task 3. I have not done anything for task 3 yet. All of it kind of requires the videotaping and the lesson planning to be done. So I am still in the very beginning stages of my edTPA, but I feel very confident about the lessons that I am creating and the things that I am doing, because I have this binder telling me that it's the right thing to do. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope that it is helpful and gives you some ideas of how you should organize your edTPA. And if you have any other ideas, definitely leave them down below for other people to use, because it is a group effort here to try and survive the last semester of college being a teacher. So I am super excited to have this organized and ready and start to plan my lessons. So I will be documenting that whole process as well. Like I said, down below you will find the edTPA website. I am also going to link a few videos and stuff in the iCards that I watched before creating this, because there are a lot of other YouTubers and creators that have given awesome tips about edTPA binders and organization and tips and things like that. So go search the iCards and the description below to find some other helpful resources. Check the comments in case anyone has added something helpful that you could use also. All right, you guys, before I end this video, I wanted to put it out there that if you are interested in any of the title pages that I have, the tabs that I created, or any of the cover pages for the sections, just let me know in the comments down below. I can definitely create a PDF that will be downloadable for you, and I can probably add that to the description below, and I will probably add it to the link tree that I have in my Instagram bio. And definitely consider subscribing, because I will definitely be vlogging my journey of edTPA and graduating graduating and becoming a teacher. So if you want to join me on that, I would love for you to subscribe and also check me out on Instagram because I'm a lot more active on there. I am so glad I could make this video for you, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Just keep teaching.